Hey Sainers, welcome back to the Saints TV YouTube channel. Welcome to the round 10, 5 things we learned. Now, it's pretty hard to nail it down to 5 things, I'll be honest. But I think I did. Obviously, throughout the video, put your 5 things you learned in the comments. Firstly, before we get into it, just want to thank our sponsor, Mornington Peninsula, for sponsoring the video. Check their website out. They've got amazing products. They're also located at any regular sort of bottle shop, I believe. mpbrew.com.au. Check them out, and thanks again for supporting the channel. Okay. Number 1. It's a midfield problem. Now, if we look across the ground, we look at how we're exploited every single week. We look at our biggest weakness and I guess the area of the ground where we lack the most game-changing sort of power. It's the midfield, and again, we got battered in there. I think centre clearances we broke even, but around the ground we were just shit hours, and you see the quality that they had coming out, and also the two-way running. That was the major problem. The middle of the ground was just exploited. They killed us, and it's going to take, I believe, another year to really get the right mix in there. We don't know what our right mix is. We're still missing players. We're not putting Machida Owens in there, which I wish we would. And yeah, we've in the bottom 4 for midfield probably, if I'm being quite frank. So that needs to be the area of focus moving forward. We fix that. I dare say the rest of the ground takes care of itself. But at the present time, it's a big problem. Number 2, leadership lacking. Leadership lacking. It was a game last night where there were key moments and our leaders let us down. And I mentioned one in particular last night in my review. I am not going to pick on him again. Not that I'm picking on him. It's just an example of making a mistake and not taking the ownership, not taking the responsibility to change the game, to create a difference, to be the one guy that can hit a target under pressure. And we saw a number of turnovers last night, and I just wish that some of our senior boys, the boys in the leadership group, let's face it, those boys, that's their job, to play good footy and to keep everyone in check on field when maybe things aren't going our way. We go into our shells, and when our leaders go into their shells, then you're like, Jesus, there's no one out there really barking orders. There's no one out there leading the way and saying it's okay to make this mistake, but let's keep going. Let's fucking try and win this game. So that's the major, disappointment from last night, is just seeing a lack of control on field, especially when a game is so close like that. It takes 1 or 2 just acts from a leader, from a captain, to change the game, and everyone gets on board. We've seen that a number of times. Look at when Rui was captain. He'd kick 1 or 2 goals in a game where we were struggling, and then bang, we're in it and we're up and about. We just didn't have a game changer or a leader like that last night. Number 3, turnover kings. We are, I think, 3rd for turnovers in the competition. I'm amazed we're not number 1. But I don't know if there's a team that kills momentum and kills a certain goal on a more regular basis than us. I think there was at least 4 or 5 that I can think of. Jack Sinclair's stream. This isn't a turnover really, but this is just something that should have been a goal and wasn't. Jack Sinclair running into an open goal, goes for a finesse kick. Go for goal. Go for goal. You're one of those leaders I was just talking about. Take it on the shoulders and go for goal. What's the point of breaking the lines? If that was a training drill, Sinks is going for goal. So why in game is he suddenly not? Just doesn't make sense to me. Then the Machida Owens one, where he went for the shot, unlike Sinks, and blew it because he burnt 4 teammates that were easy handballs over the top that would have been a certain goal. Bonner in the middle of the ground. Bonner off the back of Ron Marshall's, touched behind and kicking it straight to over Brad Hill's head. And some people still have the audacity to blame Brad Hill for it. It's the kick. It should have been to his chest, not here. Turnover kings. That just summarizes it. Number 4. There's no fun. They're not having fun out there. Even last year, I feel like in games where it wasn't quite going our way, there was unity, there was a chemistry, and there was a passion across the board. And everyone just seemed in sync. It just seemed like we just knew what we were doing. Maybe it wasn't coming off, but we had a plan. And we're having fun doing it. When we kick goals, we get around each other. There was energy on field, off field, in the crowd. There's just nothing like that. It just feels like either the boys are just so out of form that they're just not enjoying what they're doing, or they're being overcoached and they just have been sapped of all sort of fun and flair. I don't know, because we've got a lot of flair players. Like we do have flair players. They're not doing it. You know, they're devoid of all confidence, and they don't want to take any risks. And when you don't take risks and they don't come off, there's no fun. And right now, the boys aren't playing with fun. So we need to get back to some real basics of just wanting to play footy and play good footy. It'll come that way. If we're trying to force it, it's never going to work. And number 5, fan frustration. And I know that I feel like we've gone through the season where we've had some games where we've been frustrated, but we've kind of found something, and then we look forward to the next week. All the mistakes are kind of like fixable. But when you have a game like last night, at least for me too, it felt like reality slapped you in the face and kind of like a final straw. Like, nah, like drop them, do this like reactionary. And I feel like the fans at Marvel were definitely getting to that level. You know, 19,000, not a great crowd like at all for primetime Saturday night. I know we're out of form, but 19,000, I mean, I feel like a few more Saners could have come out. And then first bounce of the opening term, of the last term. Biggest, it's a big moment in the game where nearly scores, I think it was scores level, and the crowd's pretty dead. Like, get behind the boys, I know that people will say, Jake, but they're shit. They don't deserve this and that. But it's like, at that moment in time, we could have won the game. And what's the point of having a home ground advantage if the home crowd is not making it a cauldron, not getting the energy? Like, the loudest the crowd was in that last quarter, even though I know it was a shit last quarter, was when Rowan Marshall was shown on the big screen and he'd touched the ball, only for us to then turn it over and give them the goal anyway. But that was the loudest the crowd was. And Caminiti's 2 goals in a minute. That was probably the only time where anyone really got off out of their seats. And I know that's partly on the players, but I don't know. It's I think that just summarises probably the previous 4 points I've just mentioned, that it's a midfield problem, leadership's lacking, we turn over the ball way too often, we're not having fun on field, and then that kind of, encapsulates how the fans are feeling, which is just severely frustrated. And, our run in the next 5 to 6 weeks is pretty tricky. There's some good teams there. So that's my 5. Honestly, the last one, fan frustration, I don't know. I just felt like Marvel had a weird vibe last night. I don't know if anyone else that attended, even before the game, it was just half glass empty type of thing. And I don't know. I just felt like I had to put it in there. But anyway, guys, put your 5 in the comments. Thank you very much for watching. More content during the week in the lead up to the game against Melbourne, I think next Sunday. But yeah, put your 5 things in the comments. I'm going to be very interested to read them, especially off the back of last night's performance. So take care, enjoy the rest of your weekend, and as always, go you mighty Saners. See you guys.